and say, you're doing bad, I think I'll give you a punishment now. It is God, but it's through the system he put in place. The system itself will take the guy out. Not that he has to wonder if Hashem's going to do anything to him. It's an automatic. That's why we can't just say, I rely on being a good person, it doesn't matter what I do, nothing's going to happen to me. It's not true. From the walls, they're going to get him. You see? And it's not just, God forbid, death. You know, the whole exile is because we've been sinning for 2,000 years. The body has gotten sicker and sicker. The big body, whatever the big body is, it's almost like we're looking at the body on a respirator. That's where the body is. Even though we're the little cells inside, we don't see that. If a guy was, God forbid, in a hospital bed, his little cells wouldn't see his hospital bed either. They still see the world they're in. So to us, nothing's changed. But the big Adam, so to speak, that we're in, is in major trouble. And it's our mitzvot and teshuvah that's going to get him, or aka us, out of trouble. Again, we are him. Let me just give that example. Let's say I'm Shlomo, or Sam, Shlomo. All my cells have nucleuses, which means they all have a kind of self to them. Brain, a little brain. So they can all, are they all Shlomos? Yes, they're all me. But then there's the big brain. That's really me. But there's not two people. All those cells equal what my brain is. It's all me, the same person. Even though the cells could think of themselves different to each other, to me they're all the same. And that makes them all the same. You see? It's just something to think about. Meaning, this man that we're in, it's not another person. Like I said, we're going to shake someone else's hand at the end. It's all us. Somehow that mind, the greater mind that's beyond us, is us. And we could simply tap right in. Now, without confusing the matter, there's two ways to look at it. I'll just say it because we'll have to talk about it another time. You can look at that man. It's really the Adam Kadmon, but that's the primordial man, not Adam Arishon. Adam Arishon was the physical man who was already in this world. He's not this man because he was even in the world already too. So he had a world around him. Adam Kadmon, primordial man, was the first set of 10 that Hashem created. Nothing outside of him, which means if he would look around, he wouldn't see anything. We look around, we see the world, but that's part of us, like the body within. Adam Kadmon doesn't see anything around him. He is the thing. He just sees God around him. But that level, it's really the Olam Haba level, that when we get there, we kind of sense that type of existence. It's almost like, imagine God said he put you into your cell. Imagine he put you into like a film. You know, you see cells, like it looks like heaven and earth when you see those films with the cells. It's like a vast universe, but that's what we're in. That's what this is. It looks like heaven and earth, but we're in a dot. We're only in one little dot. So what Hashem did was, when he created all the different levels, he put us down to the lower world that we call the Olam HaShafel, which is the lowest world. So it's almost like the cell, that's the lowest world comparing to the body. So imagine if Hashem would throw you into a film. Okay, it's a very important idea. Imagine Hashem threw you into your cell. I mean, how can he do that? Because there's the whole you. But he threw you into your cell, and all of a sudden you're looking in the cell, and there's a whole world around you. But you're only in a dot of yourself. You're only in a world within yourself. You'd be thinking, what would I feel when I came back to myself? You see? So that's what's happening now. We're in the lower world. But all of a sudden, when we get back to that Adam Kadmon stage, and of course pass through to get there, it's almost like we're just going to sense ourselves being back to how we were. There's no real travel, per se. It's just going from consciousness cell to the full self. You see? That's the travel. we say there's Olam Haba. Olam Haba really means the world to come, right? But we should call it Olam Hayavo, the world that will come. Why is it called Olam Haba, the world that came already? Because the truth is, the future world started out that way. Then Hashem brought us into this dimension, world, and we're going to go back to how we were. So we're really going back into the world that came, that was once. You see? Now another quick example to try and click some of these ideas.
Question?
Don't we get
Yeah.
glimpses of that every once in a while?
Yeah, I mean, that's a personal thing. Each one with their own consciousness and what they're able to tap into, you have a feeling of that. I mean, that's very personal because only a person knows what he has and nobody else. Now, another example, imagine, let's look at the heart. The heart is doing so much work, okay? You need a textbook to study the heart, a doctor to study cardiovascular systems, or like I said before, the circulatory system is very vast. It's a thick book. But this heart, he does it. He knows how to do the whole thing. He doesn't have to go to school, and it's just working, okay? Now imagine Hashem went over to that heart, and he told him, okay, sir, because he's conscious in his own way, because we said all the 10s and 613s, it's all dimensions, we're all conscious. We all have a nucleus, we all have a brain, whatever it is. So he walks over to the heart, imagine, and he says, I'm wiping out your memory. And now the heart knows nothing. And if it doesn't start doing something, it's going to, God forbid, die with the rest of the body. So Hashem says, don't worry, Mr. Heart, I have your answer. Here's the cardiovascular book. This is you. Here, learn it and do it. This is your law book, your Torah. So what did Hashem do with us? We're walking 10 systems, like I said. Circulatory system, respiratory system, all 10. That our 613 parts are part of. So just like the Torah. 613 within the 10. We're all the little cells in the bigger body. We have to function. Just like the cells here function. The 10 also, the 10 little systems that they have. They function, making the body live. It's all about life. But imagine the cells also work automatically. The problem is, it's not a problem, there's a reason to it. Our dimension of cell doesn't work automatically. We know nothing when we come in. But that's because Hashem wants us to do it ourselves. That's a whole nother subject, why we have to even do anything. If Hashem just could have made a man working with all the systems, everything worked fine automatically, but then there was no reward for us because we didn't do anything. But again, that's another class. But he wiped out our memory, so to speak, because naturally we're always doing the Torah. Torah is us. Like I said, it's another form, like ice and water. We are the Torah. We do it. We do the 10 and 613 automatically. The only reason we would not do it is because God wiped out our memory from it. The same way a spider, what's it called? He weaves a web. It's automatic. We're supposed to do Torah that way. Just do it. It just happens. But without that memory, we don't do it. We don't know what to do. But the problem is, we're in the body. We're in the body, and if we don't do our functioning, it's called pi'ulot. If we don't do our circulatory system, whatever that means, you can imagine chesed, because, the circulatory system gives the blood and the food all over, so doing chesed and all the mitzvot that correspond to that. We have to also do a skeletal system, which is to hold up the body, which is Shabbat, and the holidays and things, and all the 10 fit. You can match them up. It's a nice study to see all that. If we don't do our 10, the body's in jeopardy. Mavet, like we say, death, God forbid. So Hashem says, here's your Torah, you forgot this. This used to be you, like the heart. This is you. Take the Torah, here's the 10 with the 613, do it. This is your book. Now it puts a new flavor on the phrase, Kihem chayenu ve'orech yamenu. This is the days of your life. Kihem chayenu, this is your life. Ve'orech yamenu, and the length of your years. The point is, and there's a pasuk in that also in Devarim, and we say that in our praying or in our davening in Arbit or Ma'ariv, where we say they are our life. The mitzvot is our life. Now, why would it say such a direct statement? You could say if we do them, we will get life. Hashem will reward us with life. But it's not true. It is the life. Just like the circulatory functioning is the life of the heart. It does nothing else. That is how it lives. That is what Torah is to us. It is us. It is our life. It's not just if we do it, He'll give us a candy bar at the end. The reward is not separate from the job. The job is the reward, because that is the life. It's the same thing. And the Ramchal talks about that it's one inyan. Actually, while we brought up the Ramchal, he says here in Sefer HaKlalim. Now actually, the Malbim, I just want to point this out first. You can look this up. The Malbim says, and we'll wrap up in just a couple of minutes. The Malbim says in Parashat Terumah, where it talks about the Mishkan. The Mishkan is also a man. It's a man model. It also has 10 and 613 parts too. The Beit HaMikdash and Mishkan is also a man model. Okay? And he goes in there and he says what the Ramchal also, I'm going to say, I just don't have that book to quote, but you can look it up, because Malbim is a very good source. The Ramchal says here, Nimsanu lemedim, we learned, Ki kol haolam kulo, b'chol madgiregotav, with all its levels, hu adam gadol, it is a big man. V'ha'adam, the man, hu olam katan, is a small world. Okay? Basically, we call ourselves a small world. But the world is called a big man. You see? But it means we're in something functioning. The point is, if someone does something wrong or something good, it's within the walls that it's going to get you, for good or for not. It's not that it's a dormant thing. We're not living in a dormant thing. You could say this is the lowest world compared to the skeleton, the bone. That's why bone is like rock. But then that's this world. That's why it's hard, so to speak. But the world above it, you can compare to, how we say there's the four elements. There's fire, air, water, and earth. So earth, which is bone, rock, you could say, and the body mirrors that, because then you can say that the level, is then the water, which is like the stomach area, digestion, all that is the water. And then the air is the lungs, so you're moving up, and then the brain is already, the neurons is the energy, or the fire. So we are a mini world, but we're in a world that has the same thing. The same way if a person has a virus, again, the immune system will just yank it out. The same thing that happens here. When there's judgment of God, it's not that he's just going to do something because he's going to look at you and judge, the way we think. It's almost like there's the system that's within the body that's going to get the virus out. So don't be a virus. Be a good cell, because then you'll get all the great and strong nutrients, because the body feeds the strong nutrients to the good cells, because it wants the body to keep on living.